Besides being cinematic marvels, no pun intended, superheroes are just as popular in the world of video games. We have seen overwhelming successes of major AAA titles, such as the Batman Arkham games, and quite recently, Marvel's Spider-Man adaptations. But looks like the sun is only rising on the gaming industry for superhero adaptations, with Marvel's Midnight Suns gathering an overwhelming reception. Let's dive in with all the news. First up, Rise of the Midnight Suns. After much anticipation, the reviews are in for Firaxis Games' latest take on the superhero genre, and boy, are they marvelous. IGN and GameSpot scored the RPG an 8 on 10, with Eurogamer giving a 4 out of 5 review for the installment. Many avid gamers are calling it the year's biggest surprise. But what made the title such a success? Coming up, the review. Come on, who wouldn't want to play as their favorite superheroes, demolishing walls and body slamming their allies for just a quick giggle? There's nothing like doing mischief with our heroes fighting for justice. In Justice League and the Revengers, anyone? Anywho, the game exquisitely portrays the extent of what these godlike characters are capable of. Where Midnight Sun shines is in its combat mechanics. The game gives fans the perfect balance between source-authentic movesets and a satisfying tactical mechanism that give the likes of Iron Man, Blade, and Doctor Strange endless powers for you to play with. Not just that, but just like any RPG title, the story is 80% of the experience, and Firaxis takes the quality to 100. The campaign totals up to 75 hours worth of extensive playtime in immersive lore, though the immersion feels a little dragged. Don't get us wrong, gamers will have the time of their lives interacting with this rendition of Earth's mightiest heroes. We just would have liked some more hardcore New York destroying action. The story is a refreshing take on recent Marvel gaming franchises, incorporating supernatural elements through and through. Here's how the story is set up, and as always, spoilers ahead. Following up with Where the Sun Shines. The story is inspired by the underrated Marvel comic titled Midnight Suns, and revolves around the fiendish witch, Lilith. What does Lilith want? The Darkhold is essentially the evil book of spells referenced in Marvel's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, where we saw the exact supernatural change in aesthetic the studios were going for. Lilith has been sent by a higher deity, with desires much worse than hers. As compelling as Lilith is as an antagonist, her terrifying looks and innate conviction isn't even the best part about her. It's all relative, as Lilith is the mother of our protagonist, known as the Hunter, who is quite reminiscent of Commander Shepard. Lilith's sister is Caretaker, who gives off crazy Professor X vibes throughout the story's course with her mentorship. The two sisters have a history clocking back hundreds of years. Marvel took some inspiration from real-life events, as there is a direct reference to the Salem witch trials. In a typical witch-like fashion, Lilith uses her powers to create diversion and friction between the superheroes. Looks like, just as Cap said, we could do this all day. We're treated with ample content, as the campaign tops up 75 to 80 hours worth of playtime. Fans will get to pick up their controllers and play as Ghost Rider, Magic, Nico Minoru, Captain Marvel, and the OG Cap himself. Guess the studios really wanted their fans to eat well. The game's algorithm is designed to have the abilities of heroes determined by your interactions and relationships with them. That being said, overall, the technical verdict: we're rooting for more. Next up, Marvel x EA. With back-to-back successes in the video game genre, it's safe to say the box office isn't the only lucrative venture for the head of Marvel Games, Jay Ong. And looks like it's only the beginning, as big-time blockbuster video game company Electronic Arts have come knocking on the Avengers headquarters. On the 31st of October, EA announced their collaboration with Marvel on a major contract that will feature 3 new video game titles in the works for the foreseeable future. The potential titles have already been confirmed for consoles and PC. The game developing pioneers announced that each of the franchises will be in separate continuities and follow their own lore. Fans were left buzzing, as the EA also confirmed the first of the 3 titles is already in production. Back in September, Motive Studios announced an Iron Man third-person action adventure being galvanized as we speak. It has been a long time coming. Glad we didn't have to wait for a real-life Tony Stark to fund a much-awaited project. The game is in good hands, with the studios having the likes of Star Wars Squadrons and Dead Space in their portfolio. The story deepens deepens into the original source material for the creative mastermind, Tony Stark. Developers are aiming to give fans the ideal Iron Man experience. We can almost hear Friday whispering in our ears, "Siri, you've got competition." Besides the gameplay experience, the story-driven aspects are being dealt by Olivier Preux, who has worked in the fan-favorite franchise Guardians of the Galaxy. Exciting times! Honestly, it is refreshing to see Marvel finally rivaling DC in their video game endeavors. Moving on to donning the cowl. If you're talking about Marvel, you gotta talk about where DC is at. After all, they're the two biggest comic book oligopolies in the business. Prior to Marvel's recent successes in the video game platform, DC has been owning it over the past decade. When you think of DC video games, you immediately feel yourself donning the cowl, hopping on your Batmobile, and speaking in the iconic voice of Kevin Conroy's Batman. The Arkham series was a global success. It attracted fans from all genres and epitomized the graphical standards of video games in each generation of consoles. Seriously, reviewers still use the almost decade-old Arkham Knight as a benchmark when testing their graphics cards. The noir-driven gameplay and a complex yet engaging combat system, the Arkham series was consistent in its delivery and experience till the last flick of the joystick. But as DC was dominating, Marvel was brewing up an emphatic answer. Swinging at you, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. To compete against the gritty dark aesthetic of Gotham City, came swinging the naive yet carefree friendly neighborhood Spider-Man to Marvel's rescue. The Sony-exclusive Spider-Man game was a global phenomenon, reaching 33 million copies sold as of June 2022. The game's mechanics and mapping system made the lore super immersive, with fans even dropping TikTok of how they could see their balconies from in the game's rendition of New York City. The title was such a success that Insomniac greenlit a spin-off title focusing on Miles Morales, which was an even greater hit. As of now, we're expecting a Spider-Man 2 set to arrive in 2023, featuring none other than Venom. DC's latest release is the critically acclaimed Gotham Knights. The game grabbed mixed reviews, as we saw the likes of Nightwing and Batgirl compensating for Batman's absence. Though we're curious, will we ever see a crossover between the two behemoths? Coming at you with Marvel vs. DC. If there is one way to settle the rivalry between Marvel and DC, it is through a major collaboration. If you're a comic book fan, you've speculated and fantasized about who would win in an unlikely battle between the charismatic philanthropist, Bruce Wayne, and Tony Stark. Or would a godly altercation between Thor and Soups himself spark your interest? Maybe you're feeling a little witty and want to see who would win in a death battle between Thanos and Darkseid. The possibilities are endless, and the opportunity is right there. Well, if you don't really know, a certain studio is rumored to have taken up the responsibility to make these dream battles come to fruition. Finally, NetherRealm to the rescue. For quite some time, NetherRealm Studios have been toying with our hearts, teasing a Marvel vs. DC game in the works. The studio has worked on the famous arcade blockbuster Mortal Kombat, which may give us a glimpse of what we can expect if the rumors turn out to be true. Honestly, it would be quite a treat to see the Avengers take on the Justice League in an all-out battle. Marvel has numerous affiliations that leave the studio with myriad characters to play with. The game could star Spidey, Wolverine, Mr. Stark himself with the Fantastic Four, Guardians of the Galaxy, and X-Men. Nevertheless, it would be interesting to see how NetherRealm translates the character's abilities over to the arcade format. Imagine Logan slashing the Joker's face into a pulp. That'll lure a lot of fans from Mortal Kombat, considering the gore involved in the game. Over to DC's side of the spectrum, we have seen Superman and Batman both featured in NetherRealm's previous work before. Having the two superheroes leading to the front for DC could be a little boring. Maybe a reprise or new character designs are the way around, though we are expected to see the original Justice League making their way into the game's code with the likes of Flash, Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman. Fans are also rooting to see the studio's rendition of underrated characters, such as Beast Boy, Deathstroke, and Riddler. Besides the rivalry between Marvel and DC, the future of video games for the two looks promising, and if you're a comic book fan, you're probably having the time of your life. That's a wrap for this video. Who would you like to play in a Marvel vs. DC game? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one!